What if everything you've been taught about history is wrong? Imagine a world, untouched by modern hands, where divine wisdom flowed through the land, where humanity lived in perfect harmony with nature and the cosmos itself. Now, what if I told you this civilization, Lemuria, didn't just vanish, but left behind a message? A warning, hidden deep within the fabric of time, waiting to be uncovered? Who were the Lemurians really? What happened to their land of mystery and miracles? And more importantly, why are we being called to remember their ancient knowledge today? Stay tuned, because the answers may just change the way you see the world, and your place within it, forever. Have you ever felt a longing for something ancient, so distant, yet so familiar it stirs your soul? A whisper in your dreams. A memory that doesn't belong to this life. Visions of a paradise lost beneath the sea. There are truths buried deeper than any archaeologist has ever dug. Truths not written in textbooks, but etched in the subconscious of mystics, healers, and seekers across time. This is the story of Lemuria, a land said to predate Atlantis, a civilization birthed from divine intention, steeped in peace, telepathic communion, and a radiant spiritual purity long forgotten by the modern world. But Lemuria is not merely a myth or a sunken continent spoken of in obscure metaphysical circles. To the spiritual initiate, Lemuria is a living memory, a frequency, a soul code that awakens within us as we ascend into higher awareness. Why have so many felt drawn to the Pacific, where ancient volcanic islands dot the ocean like sacred remnants? Why do cultures as far apart as Polynesia, India, and South America speak of star beings, flood myths, and a golden era swallowed by the sea? What if these are not isolated myths, but fragmented echoes of the same truth? In this video, we will unravel the full story of Lemuria, not the sanitized version, not the speculative footnotes, but the deeper spiritual essence that every seeker must know. You'll discover who the Lemurians truly were, why their civilization fell, and, most importantly, how their legacy still pulses beneath the surface of your own spiritual evolution. This is more than a tale of lost lands. It's a remembrance. A resurrection. A call to those whose souls once walked the soft crystalline shores of Mu, who sang the sacred harmonies of light and lived not through domination, but through divine unity. So, open your heart. Open your memory. Because once you hear this story, something ancient within you will awaken. Are you ready to remember Lemuria? To understand Lemuria, we must first journey back, far, far back, into the annals of time, when the world was still young and untamed by the chaos of human conflict. Imagine, if you will, a time before written history, before the towering cities of Egypt, the empires of Greece and Rome, and the rise of modern civilization. A time when humanity was still connected to the ancient wisdom of the earth, the stars, and the cosmos itself. The legend of Lemuria traces its origins to the writings of the 19th century scholars who began to piece together the mysteries of the lost continents. The name Lemuria was first coined by the zoologist Philip Sclater in 1864, who used it to describe a hypothetical landmass that connected Madagascar and India. This was based on the peculiar distribution of certain species of animals, which seemed to have no clear evolutionary path on the existing continents. However, It was not until Helena Blavatsky, one of the founding figures of Theosophy, that Lemuria was truly woven into the fabric of spiritual and esoteric thought. In her works, she painted Lemuria as a land of enlightenment, a spiritual paradise where humanity lived in harmony with the earth and the divine. But beyond the physical theories lies a deeper, more mystical truth that has persisted for millennia. Ancient texts, both obscure and sacred, speak of a civilization that existed before the flood, a civilization that knew the secret of spiritual technology, where wisdom was passed through telepathic communion and an understanding of the universe that transcended time and space. In this realm, humanity's connection to the divine was not a distant aspiration but an inherent reality. The Lemurians were not simply advanced, they were in tune with the earth, with the stars, and with the collective consciousness of the cosmos. Philosophically, Lemuria represents the Golden Age, the era when humankind lived not by the survival of the fittest, but by the harmony of the soul. This was a time when the world was not divided by borders, wars, or religions. There was no need for conflict because there was no separation, only unity. Each being lived in alignment with the divine laws of the universe. There was an understanding that all was one, and the deepest truths were not learned through study, but through spiritual embodiment. The Lemurians were said to communicate through sound, light, and vibration, creating a society based on the sacred geometry of the universe. But as with all golden ages, the downfall of Lemuria was both inevitable and tragic. Over time, their wisdom, once pure and untainted, became distorted. The Lemurians, too, began to fall prey to the dualities of the material world, ambition, desire, and separation. As the vibrational frequency of the land shifted, so too did the energy of its inhabitants. The great landmass began to sink, swallowed by the depths of the ocean, taking with it the knowledge that was once known only to the initiated. However, as with all spiritual teachings, this knowledge could not be lost forever. It was encoded in the very DNA of humanity, passed down through the veils of time and hidden in the mysteries of sacred texts and ancient rituals. Lemuria was not merely a physical place, it was a spiritual frequency, one that still exists within the collective consciousness of those who seek deeper truth. It is said that the Lemurians did not perish in the traditional sense. Their energy and consciousness have transcended, merging into the fabric of the Earth's consciousness. And thus, the story of Lemuria is not just a tale of a lost civilization, but a reflection of our own potential. A reminder that we, too, have the ability to return to a state of divine unity, to the golden age of harmony and enlightenment. Now that we have unlocked the ancient context of Lemuria, it's time to delve deeper into its profound mysteries. What exactly were the Lemurians like? What did they know that we have forgotten? And why is it crucial for us to remember their legacy today? The Lemurian civilization was not defined by material wealth, political structures, or territorial power, things that dominate our modern world. No, the Lemurians existed in a reality far more intricate and spiritually advanced than we can fathom today. They lived in a state of divine resonance, where their every thought, action, and vibration was in tune with the natural laws of the universe. At the core of Lemurian life was their relationship to energy. In the Lemurian system, everything had a vibrational frequency: the earth, the sky, the ocean, and even human beings. The Lemurians understood that all life is energy, a concept that modern science is only beginning to catch up with through quantum physics and the study of consciousness. But where modern science only sees these frequencies, the Lemurians could feel them. They understood how to harmonize with the energetic flow of the universe, which allowed them to perform feats we would now consider miraculous. Take, for example, their ability to communicate telepathically. The Lemurians did not rely on spoken language in the way we do today. Instead, they used thought forms, an advanced form of communication that transcended the need for words. Their minds were attuned to one another, and through this collective consciousness, they could share knowledge, emotions, and experiences instantaneously. This wasn't just about intellectual knowledge, it was about a deep, embodied knowing, a direct connection to each other's soul and the divine. Their society was built upon the principle of unity consciousness, an understanding that the individual is never separate from the whole. They saw the world through the lens of interconnection, recognizing that everything in existence, every stone, every tree, every being, was an expression of the same source energy. This is why there was no need for wars, borders, or competition. Everyone in Lemuria understood their role as part of the greater cosmic symphony. The Lemurians didn't strive for personal gain, rather, they focused on the collective well-being and spiritual evolution of the whole. But their greatest wisdom lay in their understanding of vibration and frequency. They were masters of sacred geometry and the harmonics of sound. The Lemurians could heal through sound and light, using specific vibrational frequencies to restore balance to the body and mind. It is said that they could harness the frequencies of the universe to manifest their desires, create abundant crops, or even teleport from one location to another by shifting their vibrational state. They didn't view the world through the lens of fixed physical laws, but through the understanding that the universe is in a constant state of flux, always vibrating, always shifting, always creating. This mastery of energy and vibration also extended to their connection with the crystals of the earth. Lemuria was known for its abundance of powerful crystals, which were used not only for healing but also as tools for spiritual ascension. These crystals were believed to act as conduits for the divine frequencies, amplifying the spiritual energy of the Lemurians and connecting them directly to the higher realms. It is said that the Lemurians could channel the cosmic energy through these crystals to bring about healing, enlightenment, and even to access the Akashic records, the cosmic library of all knowledge. But there was a dark side to this profound power. While the Lemurians held the secrets of the universe, they also became vulnerable to the same forces of division and greed that have plagued humanity throughout history. As their spiritual awareness began to fade, their connection to the divine became distorted. The peaceful unity that once defined their society began to crumble under the weight of material desires, ego-driven ambitions, and the illusion of separation. In the end, the great continent of Lemuria sank beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean, its once thriving civilization disappearing into the depths. But the knowledge of Lemuria did not perish with it. Instead, it became encoded in the very fabric of the earth and within the souls of those who were ready to remember. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of Lemuria, it's important to understand that the fall of this great civilization was not merely a matter of sinking continents or cataclysmic events. The true lesson of Lemuria lies in the inner transformation of its people and the lost wisdom they carried. This second part of the story illuminates the paradoxes and the lessons that are as relevant today as they were in the ancient past. For while Lemuria may have disappeared beneath the waves, its teachings continue to pulse beneath the surface of our own consciousness, waiting for us to unlock them. The Lemurians, as we have seen, lived in harmony with the earth and the divine frequencies of the universe. They understood that to truly create was to align with the divine laws of the cosmos. The energy of creation was not about exerting control, but about allowing, being, and flowing in perfect attunement with the universe. This is where the first paradox emerges: creation through surrender. In their advanced state of being, the Lemurians were capable of shaping their world through conscious intention, but they did not force their will. They simply aligned with the natural forces that were already at play. Their technology was not mechanical in the way we think of it today. Instead, it was spiritual technology, understanding the hidden forces that flow through all things, manipulating them not through physical labor, but through consciousness. This is why their ability to perform what we now call miracles was simply a reflection of their mastery over the very fabric of reality. But, as in all civilizations, the seeds of corruption were planted. Over time, the Lemurians began to stray from their spiritual path. They became fascinated with their own power and began to believe that their connection to the divine was something they possessed, rather than something they embodied. This shift from humility to pride, from oneness to separation, marked the beginning of the end for Lemuria. A second, and equally profound, paradox that emerged from this transition was the duality between light and darkness. The Lemurians, in their early days, had lived in perfect balance with both. They understood that there is no true creation without destruction, no true growth without decay. But as their consciousness shifted, they began to fear the darkness and the unknown, equating it with evil. They tried to suppress the shadow aspects of themselves, believing that the light could exist without the dark. This imbalance in their spiritual awareness contributed to the downfall of Lemuria. The very principles of duality that had once been in harmonious balance became distorted. The Lemurians began to separate themselves from their own shadows, denying the cyclical nature of life. This led to a fragmentation of their consciousness, and as they began to lose their connection to the cosmic flow, they lost their ability to navigate the vibrational frequencies of the earth and the universe. It is said that the sinking of Lemuria was not just a physical event, but a symbolic descent into spiritual darkness, an illustration of what happens when a civilization forgets the fundamental law of balance. And yet, the legacy of Lemuria did not end with the fall of the land. The energy of Lemuria, its wisdom, its teachings, continues to echo in our modern world, encoded in the spiritual DNA of humanity. This is where the true power of Lemuria lies. While the physical civilization may have vanished, the Lemurian consciousness remains accessible to those who are attuned to its frequency. Many spiritualists and mystics throughout history have claimed to have been Lemurian souls in past lifetimes. They speak of a deep, unconscious longing for a time when peace, unity, and spiritual resonance ruled the earth. Some believe that these souls have returned in this lifetime to help humanity remember what was once known, to reignite the flame of divine consciousness that was kindled in Lemuria. This is the spiritual resurrection of Lemuria, a return to the ancient wisdom that has always been within us. As modern seekers, we are presented with a unique opportunity. We stand at a crossroads, facing the consequences of our own separation from the natural world and the divine principles that once guided the Lemurians. But the wisdom of Lemuria is still within us, and it is waiting to be remembered. The challenge before us is not to recreate Lemuria physically, but to restore the lost consciousness of Lemuria within our own hearts. We are, in essence, the modern-day Lemurians, those who are capable of remembering and reclaiming the spiritual unity, peace, and wisdom that once existed. The fall of Lemuria was not the end, but the beginning of a new cycle. And now, as we face the spiritual challenges of our own time, we are called to rise up and rediscover the Lemurian frequencies within ourselves. Now that we have unlocked the profound history and spiritual essence of Lemuria, it's time to bring this ancient wisdom into our own lives. Lemuria was not just a lost civilization, it was a state of being, a frequency that can still be accessed by those willing to attune themselves to its higher vibrations. The practices and philosophies of the Lemurians are more than just stories. They are spiritual tools, ready to be reawakened in the modern world. But how can we, in the 21st century, apply the teachings of Lemuria? How can we access the divine resonance that once permeated the lives of the Lemurians? The answer lies in consciousness, in shifting our awareness, reconnecting with the earth, and reawakening our own dormant spiritual abilities. Here are several powerful ways you can begin to integrate Lemurian wisdom into your own life. One of the most profound practices of the Lemurians was their ability to heal using sound and vibrational frequencies. The human body is, at its core, an intricate web of energy and vibration. In modern times, science has shown us that sound frequencies can influence our bodies on a molecular level, affecting everything from our mood to our physical health. But the Lemurians mastered this art on a spiritual level. You can begin by experimenting with sound healing in your daily life. Try incorporating mantras, chanting, or singing bowls into your spiritual practice. Start with a simple, calming frequency, such as a tuning fork tuned to 528 Hz, known as the love frequency. Sit in a quiet space, allow the vibrations to wash over you, and focus on your breath. Visualize the energy in your body shifting and aligning with the higher frequencies. You might feel emotional releases, or a sense of peace and clarity washing over you. This is the Lemurian method of harmonizing with the universe's natural vibration. While the Lemurians communicated telepathically, we too can tap into our latent psychic abilities. You don't need to be an advanced spiritual practitioner to begin. Start by setting the intention to deepen your connection to others through nonverbal communication. This could be in the form of intuition, empathic connection, or even visualization of shared thoughts. To begin, try practicing telepathic connection with someone you are close to. Sit in a quiet, meditative space, and focus your thoughts on that person. Picture a clear image of their face or a thought you'd like to share. Open your heart and send the thought with love. Notice if they respond in any way, either verbally or through body language. This practice strengthens your psychic bonds, just as the Lemurians used telepathy to share knowledge and wisdom. With consistent practice, you may find your intuition sharpened, and your connection to others deepened. Lemurians lived in harmony with sacred geometry, understanding that the universe operates on certain mathematical principles, shapes, and ratios. This knowledge was embodied in their temples, structures, and even their daily practices. Sacred geometry was a way to connect the material world with the divine. You can start to incorporate sacred geometry into your life by meditating on the flower of life, Metatron's cube, or other sacred symbols. Place a symbol somewhere in your home, like an altar or a meditation space, and gaze upon it during moments of stillness. Allow the geometric patterns to bring your mind into alignment with the universal flow. By doing so, you begin to access the higher wisdom encoded within these patterns, just as the Lemurians once did. The Lemurians were known to work with crystals for healing and spiritual development. Crystals are not just beautiful objects, they are living energy, each with its own vibration and frequency. In Lemurian philosophy, crystals were seen as keys to unlocking higher consciousness and connecting to the Earth's energy grid. Begin by choosing a crystal that resonates with you. For example, Lemurian seed crystals are said to be encoded with the wisdom of the Lemurians, and meditating with them can facilitate deep healing and spiritual awakening. You can also use amethyst, rose quartz, or clear quartz to support emotional balance and energetic alignment. Hold the crystal in your hand while meditating, and ask it to help you reconnect with the lost wisdom of Lemuria. As you do, visualize yourself surrounded by a golden light, filled with ancient knowledge and inner peace. Additionally, spend time in nature, grounding yourself to the earth. Walk barefoot on the ground, connect with the trees, and listen to the wind. These practices restore balance to your energetic body, reminding you of the deep, sacred relationship that the Lemurians had with the earth. The final lesson of Lemuria is the principle of unity consciousness. The Lemurians knew that to live in peace, we must see the interconnectedness of all life. There is no separation between you and me, between you and the earth, or between you and the stars. All is one. To embody this consciousness, practice acts of kindness, love, and compassion, not just to others, but to yourself and the earth. Engage in mindful living, where every action is taken with the intention of benefiting the greater whole. See yourself not as an isolated individual but as a part of the grand cosmic tapestry. When you interact with others, hold them in the same light of unity. Begin to notice the energy shifts when you treat others with reverence, respect, and love. This, in its simplest form, is the Lemurian way. The key to awakening the Lemurian frequency is not in recreating their world, but in reclaiming the knowledge they held within us, allowing their wisdom to rise up once again within our consciousness. Through sound, intention, sacred geometry, and connection to the earth, you can align yourself with the frequencies of Lemuria. By doing so, you are not just revisiting an ancient past, you are helping to create a future where divine unity and spiritual wisdom are once again the foundation of human existence. As we come to the close of this journey into the heart of Lemuria, we are reminded that this ancient civilization was not just a relic of the past, but a living, breathing force that still influences the world today. The Lemurians, with their deep spiritual understanding, have left us a profound legacy, one that goes beyond the physical remnants of their civilization. Their wisdom was not bound by time or space, it is encoded in the very fabric of our existence, waiting for us to remember and activate it. The fall of Lemuria was not an end, but a transformative moment in the cycles of spiritual evolution. Just as the land sank beneath the ocean, so too did its knowledge sink into the depths of our collective consciousness, buried by the distractions and limitations of material life. Yet, as we now rise to the challenges of the modern world, we are being called to reclaim that ancient wisdom, to bring it back to the surface where it can heal, transform, and guide us. The true power of Lemuria lies not in the revival of an ancient civilization, but in the awakening of the Lemurian consciousness within ourselves. This is the essence of our spiritual journey, to reconnect with the divine resonance that flows through all things, to live in harmony with the natural world, and to embody unity consciousness in every aspect of our lives. The Lemurian frequency is not something distant or unreachable, it is an aspect of our own soul, a reminder of what we are capable of when we align with the higher laws of the universe. So, as you step away from this video, ask yourself, how can you apply the teachings of Lemuria to your own life? How can you tune into the vibrational frequencies of the universe, heal through sound and intention, and live in harmony with the earth? Remember, the wisdom of Lemuria is not lost, it is waiting to be reawakened within you. If you feel the stirrings of something deep within, something that beckons you toward a higher truth, then you are not alone. You are part of the ancient legacy of Lemuria, and now, it is time to rise once again.